What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again. We got ourselves the next unit showcase. This has been one that I've been hyping up for quite some time, and I'm excited to get it out to you guys today. Laika. We got ourselves Laika today, the Fire DragonKnight. So you guys are not familiar with this unit. If you're beginning to mid stages or even mid to late stages of the game, stay tuned because we're going to be talking about everything and anything when it comes to this unit. Where do we begin? Let's take a look at the skill set here. Dragon's Might inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns with a critical hit if you land a critical hit. Okay, we got ourselves Justice, doing great damage on the enemy, and then the damage increases according to the number of dead allies. Last but not least, we're rocking the Noble Blood passive, which is going to allow yourself for your attacks to no longer land a glancing hit. Additionally, when you're attacked, you have a 30% chance to stun the attacker for 1 turn, okay? This unit, when it is awakened, it gets a 25% resistance, okay? And then, of course, it gets, like all Dragon Knights do, they get a 50% defensive leader skill for them as well as their ally monsters for the same attribute, the fire attribute. So, an amazing all-around kit for this particular unit. When we kind of look at, when we think about the beginner to mid stages of the game, if you're fortunate enough to get this unit right away, you're going to be asking yourself, how do we go about running this unit? In the early stages of the game, I think, obviously it's going to be kind of hard to, maximize on a wide variety of builds on him because of the fact that the runes that we get early on are, the stats are relatively low. So why not take advantage of what the unit was made for, which as you guys can see right here, it is an attack-based unit, bringing some good stats overall. So that's what we're going to shoot for. We're going to shoot for that Fatal set combined with the Blade, and then we're going to be going attack, or attack crit rate attack. You have the option of going crit damage attack, but because of the fact that crit damage is heavily reliant on the amount of critical rate you do, we're going to be focusing on attack and critical rate on the 2, 4, and 6 slot. Okay, so why do we recommend going triple attack or attack critical rate attack? When we think about the beginning of the game, there's not, like I said, there's not a lot of options to get it, so might as well just go damage with it. If you have the opportunity to, if you don't have any universal leader skills, then you can take advantage of its leader skill, the 50% defense, with this unit and any other kind of fire-based unit you may have, and give it that a little bit of that tanky approach to it. In addition to that, that first skill, if you notice here, when you land a continuous damage for 2 turns, it will land if you land a critical hit. And so what this means is, for those that are coming up in the game, they understand that while we take down some scenario dungeons, if you notice with regards to Kairos dungeon, the giants, the Hall of Magic, and of course the elemental halls or whatnot, all of those stages allow you to utilize continuous damage as an effective source of DPS when it comes to that boss stage. So in addition to that, the mini boss stage. So when you're trying to incorporate extra damage in the early stages of the game, and you're fortunate enough to get this unit, then having the opportunity to critically hit and provide that continuous damage for 2 turns, that is really big. If you're new to the game and not familiar with the continuous damage, each proc on the continuous damage, each tick, so to speak, is 5% of the opponent's health. So we're talking, a continuous damage for 2 turns is essentially 10% damage over time. This is really strong in the early stages of the game. So you definitely want to take advantage of that because, those first B1 to B3, you can essentially take those first couple of units, mow your way down. But when you start moving into that B4 to B7 range, you will notice that it will get drastically hard if you haven't collected those runes. And so any additional damage that you can get from a unit like this is going to be pretty darn crucial. Okay, let's talk about that mid to late game stage, right? Obviously, for those that are in the mid to late stages of the game, they know that this particular unit, while it may have been helpful on the PvE side early on, this becomes a godlike unit when it comes for the PvP world. And that's why I kind of wanted to bring this video today. Not just the PvP, the regular PvP, but the recently announced live PvP coming out to you. So looking at the builds, looking at the runes that we have available to us right now, we got a couple of ways that we can build this unit. If you're taking a look at its base stats right now, you will notice a couple of things. Even though it is an attack-based unit, it has 11k HP. Okay, that is pretty darn good for an attack-based unit. What this is going to allow you is to essentially build it in a multitude of ways. Really taking advantage of the hit point percentages that you can get from primary stats or subsets. So what kind of builds we got with this unit? Well, generally speaking, if we were going for that offensive route, we're looking at attack, crit damage, attack, with a violent set. We could go blade on the subset. We can go will on the subset, revenge. You can essentially go a lot of different combinations depending on what you're going to go. But obviously, ultimately, attack, crit damage, attack, or speed, crit damage, attack is going to be some great choices for the offensive side. Now, why do we say speed, crit damage, attack? The big thing to point out with regards to that, while we're talking about this particular unit, is I'm going to mention this quite a bit. This unit's overall kit and overall strength, the damage that these skills can bring to the table, are so strong that it allows you to build it in a multitude of ways and still put out some good numbers. And so if you guys remember me from when I first built this unit, you saw me in the Guild Wars and you saw that I was bringing to the table a combination by the name of Theo, Orion, and Laika. And what I ran was a speed-based Laika that went right after Theo, Orion first, or Theo second, and then Laika last, to go ahead and secure a kill, take out the opponent's main threat right away, so it could be a 3-2 match, right from the get-go. Even though I sacrificed attack percentage on 2 to get the speed, it allowed me to keep my unit synergized. It allowed me to follow through, and with this particular passive, Noble Blood, that allowed me to still hit a unit hard, regardless of the element it is. Now, let's not get it twisted here. It will no longer allow me to hit a glancing hit, but that's not to say I won't crit on that particular unit that I hit. That being said, because of the fact that I can't glance a hit, my opportunity to critically hit a unit is still going to be better than a unit that can essentially glance it, right? We can either, glance, we can, hit a unit, we can do a crushing hit, or we can crit, right? So if I'm taking away the opportunity to glance, that gives me a higher percentage chance of landing what I want to land, and that is a critical hit on a unit of a weaker element towards me, okay? So offensive build, attack, or damage, attack. If I were to recommend some basic numbers, okay, I would look for probably plus 1,000 to plus 1,500 attack. Okay, so we're going to use mine as an example. This is obviously not a attack based or offensive build or YOLO build, but we would look for the plus 1,000 to plus 1,500 over here for the attack. We would look for about 85% critical rate, 150 critical damage, and then anywhere from 40 to 75 speed. And why do I say 40 to 75 speed? It really depends if you're going attack crit damage attack or speed crit damage attack. If you're going with that speed crit damage attack, then essentially you're definitely going to want to make this unit relatively fast. Considering the meta and how it is today, speed is king, and you want to make sure that you're able to keep up with your opponent. Generally speaking, a lot of the people in the mid to late stages of the game, most of the units are ruined anywhere from 150 to 250 for the most part, depending on what type of unit it is. And then you got, of course, your speed-based attack bar boosters that are 250, 275, even some out there 300 plus. So for those damage-based units that you have synergized, having that 150 to 175 speed is going to be crucial, especially if you're going for an offensive build. Why is that? Because if you're setting up this unit to get that first turn with regards to a different type of combo that you're bringing, then making sure that you have the speed to synergize and sync up with your team is crucial. Okay, so next up, with regards to this particular unit, we got ourselves a kind of a hybrid build. And again, why do we want to say that? Why can we do the hybrid build? Just let me make it clear. Because of the fact that this unit is bringing the glancing immunity and the stun type passive. Okay, because of the fact that this unit is bringing a resistance based awakening skill, giving it natural resistance, allowing it to stay away from those defense breaks and other harmful status effects that they could put on. Because it has that high base HP that allows you to really take advantage of those HP percentage skills and whatnot, this is going to make for a really tanky unit. In addition to that, if you're fortunate enough to get yourself in a combination where you can take advantage of the leader skill, then you're going to be bringing another 50% defense to the table, making this a well-rounded unit. Again, on that same concept of going with the speed crit damage attack on the offensive side, this allows us, because of its overall stats, this allows us to go a more tankier approach on either the 2 or the 6 slot room when it comes to HP, defense, on one of those two. So something like attack crit damage HP, attack crit damage defense, I mean, you can essentially even go crazy tank and go something like a HP crit damage HP or HP crit damage. It really doesn't matter. All at the end of the day, it comes down to hitting certain stats in order to achieve a certain amount of damage. Okay, so when it comes to my recommendations for a hybrid build, Laika, what I'm looking for is about plus 15,000 HP on the HP side, so I'm kind of already there, not where I want it to be. Plus 850 attack, okay, so we're sitting at 183. Plus 500 defense. I am slacking in that aspect, but I'm trying to get at least 1,000 defense before any other defensive towers, any other leader skills comes into play. Again, always shooting for that about 85% critical rate. Why do I say that? Because at the end of the day, you know, if we set our units to be built on crit damage, we want to make sure that we're critting as much as possible. And with a unit like this that has crazy damage multipliers, we definitely don't want to miss a critical hit, especially when we have a skill, a passive that allows us to essentially have a better chance of critting on a unit of a weaker element, most notably the water. Okay, so we want to make sure that getting that high critical rate is going to be crucial. If I had the opportunity to rune this guy 60% critical rate with 90 critical damage versus 85 to 150, I would shoot for the 85 to 150. So plus 15,000 HP, plus 850 attack, plus 500 defense, 85 crit rate, 150 critical damage, and then plus 40 speed. Why the speed? Because again, considering the meta word asset, considering the runes that we get at the high end stages of the game, we're gonna get those speed subsets. And you know, when I have to think about kind of a baseline of what kind of speed that I want to see on a particular unit, regardless if it's a tank or not, I'm looking for that 140 to 160 range. So at the minimum, I'm going to be putting out there 140 speed, so plus 40 speed, okay? So let's take a look at the substat priorities, right? When we're talking about the main stats that we want on this unit with regards to offense, the offensive build or the defensive build, the substat priority is going to change. Considering the fact that in the offensive side of things, we have that YOLO approach, we understand that the amount of damage that it's going to put out is pretty darn strong. So we want to make sure that whatever kind of YOLO combo, you know, wombo combo, whatever we bring to the table, it's going to be there when as far as synergize, so that you can follow through with this particular unit and finish off the unit. So I value speed as the number one subset to go after, critical rate after that, critical damage after that, and again attack. Again, critical rate being an essential component of this unit, having the ability not to glance on a unit, so you want to take advantage of that. When we're talking about the defensive side, right? On the defensive side, we understand that, you know, the defensive stats are going to be crucial. We're trying to get those on our main stats, but when we think about substats, I still want the high critical rate. Okay, I still want the high critical rate because again, like I told you, we want to land those critical hits on those weaker elements if we have the opportunity to. Then I would essentially look at the speed, resistance, and accuracy. Okay, you can make an argument for which of these three you want to make through. I still value a little bit of speed because of the way I have mine built in my particular compositions, but we can make an argument for accuracy or resistance. Resistance probably being the lesser of the three because of the fact that we get the natural resistance, but the accuracy, which most people wouldn't really consider about, we got to think about this glancing passive, right? Glancing passive, 30% chance to stun. You know, it's not 100% chance. It's not 100% activation, right? Like any other harmful effect that we're bringing from these skills are going to be going through an accuracy resistance check. They got that activation rate, and then they got that accuracy versus resistance check. And generally speaking, when we're looking at units like this, we don't necessarily think about accuracy, so we have to kind of pay attention to that. As you can see right here, this is a big epic fail, and it shows in most of my fights. You know, the 30% chance of landing that stun is crucial, right? It's crucial. We're talking about live PvP. Taking away the opponent's ability to, you know, use their turn denial is big. But again, we're talking about priority, and we're talking about priority. It's all subjective to how you look at it. Accuracy for me is a little bit lower because again, I'm kind of focused on having that critical rate, having the resistance, having the speed, having those HP and defense. If I can mix and match some of my runes to get that accuracy, I would. But the accuracy for me is a little bit lower on the stat. Okay, and then of course after all of the defensive substats that we're looking at, you know, obviously we're going to still try to get the attack. Why do we want the attack? Because again, this unit is built in such a way the damage multipliers are so strong that you still can hit this. You can hit units really hard. Really hard. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea, on a YOLO approach, I built this unit early on a YOLO approach, you know, plus 2200 total attack, you know, 80 critical rate, 190 critical damage, attack buff on a defense broken unit. I've hit upwards of 60k, no joke. And that was the second skill with, you know, I think one or two of my units dead. I think it was two of my units dead in the arena. Do we need a hit for 60k? According to the meta right now, we can make an argument for, you know, 40, 45, 50k for some of the hybrid units out there, and this is top-notch units out there. But still, I feel like the majority of the people that are viewing this video, the people that are beginner to mid stages of the game and mid to late stages of the game, as you work your way into end game, you're still not going to see a lot of people that are bringing compositions out there, maybe in PvP, they're not full blown tanky to tank. You know what I'm saying? So what that means is, if you don't need to hit that extra 20k to kill your opponent, why not consider the fact of taking advantage of its leader skill, its passive, all these defensive mechanics that this comes with this particular unit, to allow you to let this unit last in the fight. Okay, so again, let's take a deep look into this particular unit and the kind of the bread and butter of it. We got the glancing hit, and then we got that 30% chance to stun. And again, I apologize because I'm repeating this so many times, but this is so crucial. Let's get into that mind. Let's get that critical thinking going on here. When we're thinking about live PvP, we're thinking about unique units that people do not see, do not notice. We're looking for something that is not common, right? Not a Theomars, not a Ryan. We're looking at bringing something new to the table. And this unit here, if they leave it in there, they're gonna regret, come that fight. Why is that? Because this unit has two amazing skills that makes you think twice about what you decide to do. You can essentially go for this unit, try to focus him down if you feel that it's the main threat. But if your opponent does not have the will runes, the immunity, the fanatic, whatever kind of skill set that it has to essentially resist this, right? If it doesn't have high resistance, if it doesn't have that immunity, then you're essentially you're putting yourself at risk for getting stunned. Okay, but let's say you decide, okay, I know this stun thing is crazy, it's strong. Let me go ahead and try to kill the rest of the units. The more that you kill the rest of your units, the stronger that this gets. I have seen statistics out there that say this particular skill set goes from anywhere from 800 upwards of 1200% damage multiplier. That is absurd. That is ridiculous. That is so sick. I can't even I can't even calculate it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I quantify it. Whatever you want to say. I mean, it's crazy numbers. And so when we're talking about those kind of damage multipliers, that's talking about crazy numbers without the use of attack break or the attack buff, without the use of defense break. This skill is going to get so strong that even if you lose your defense breaker, even if you lose your attack buffer, you're still going to hit hard because of how the mechanic of this skill, of this unit works. Extremely strong. So to kind of wrap it all up, what is my kind of favorite combo? You guys have seen it quite a bit. I used, again, early on, the Theomars Orion Theomars Orion Laika, and then I played around with Theomars Beta Laika when I got it. In addition to that, Theomars, Laika, and Chasun. Why do you see me combining it with Theomars all so much? Because of the fact that this unit can't glance, and this unit has the Elemental King. So when it gains that attribute advantage towards the enemy, unless it has a glancing debuff on the particular unit, you're rarely going to see this unit glance. So two units that have a good chance of critting on any element in the field today is extremely strong, and the damage multipliers of both of these units are second to none. So if you have this combination of units, and you want to play around with it in the Guild Wars or the arena or even the live PvP, these are great units to do. I definitely recommend it. Obviously, if you're thinking about Guild Wars, Chasun first, Theomar second because he has the defense break, and then Laika third. Make sure you got that will. So we're looking at violent will approaches because you don't have that attack bar increase. So versus the meta and where people are going with regards to their YOLO teams on the defense or their speed-based teams in the defense, you want to make sure that you can take a hit without getting any side effects, and then follow through one after the other in order to kill your opponent. So again, guys, that is pretty much it with regards to this unit. I hope you like this video. If you like it, go ahead and smash that like button, and if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Facebook and Twitter so I can give you some updates on the next up and coming unit showcase focusing on PvP units that kind of shine in either PvE or PvP. All right. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to make these videos for you as always. It's your boy Childish with ChildishPlays. Checking out. Take care, and we will see you next time, guys. We're out.